Hey everyone! Welcome back to Native Speakers Channel. I'm Johnny, and as always, I'm here with my co-host, Sarah. Today, we've got a super practical episode for you. We're diving into something that every English learner needs to know, essential English for public transport. Whether you're traveling abroad, living in an English-speaking country, or just want to be prepared for your next adventure, this episode is packed with must-know phrases, vocabulary, and real-life communication skills. So, Sarah, are you ready to help our viewers navigate buses, trains, and subways like a pro?
Absolutely, Johnny. I'm so excited about this topic because public transport can be really intimidating when you're learning a language. But once you know the key phrases and vocabulary, it becomes so much easier and less stressful.
Exactly. And we're going to make sure our viewers feel confident using public transport in English by the end of this lesson. So, let's jump right in.
Okay, let's start with one of the most common forms of public transport, buses. Johnny, imagine you're at a bus stop in London or New York, and you need to ask someone for help. What's the first thing you might say?
Great question. So the most basic question you'd ask is, excuse me, does this bus go to destination? For example, excuse me, does this bus go to Central Station? This is super polite and clear.
Perfect. And that word, excuse me, is so important. It's how we politely get someone's attention in English. You could also say, pardon me, or sorry to bother you, but excuse me is the most common. Now, what if you're not sure which bus to take?
Then you'd ask, which bus goes to destination? For instance, which bus goes to the city center? Or you could be even more specific and ask, how do I get to the museum from here?
Those are essential. And here's another important one. You might need to know how often the buses run. So you could ask, how often do the buses come? Or what time is the next bus?
Yes, and if someone tells you a time, they might say something like, the next bus arrives in 10 minutes, or buses come every 15 minutes. So it's good to know time expressions like in 10 minutes, every half hour, or at quarter past the hour.
Absolutely. Now let's talk about what happens when the bus actually arrives. You need to know if it's the right bus, right? So you might ask the driver, does this bus go to Oxford Street? Or do you stop at the train station?
Exactly, and the driver will usually say yes or no, but they might also say, this bus doesn't go there, you need the number 47, or something like that. So listen carefully.
Good point. And when you get on the bus, you'll probably need to pay. In many places, you can say, one ticket to Oxford, please, or a single to downtown, please.
Right, and here's some vocabulary. A single means a one-way ticket, and a return means a round-trip ticket. In American English, we usually say one-way and round-trip instead.
That's a great distinction, Johnny. So if you're in Britain, you'd say, can I have a return to Brighton, please? But in America, you'd say, can I get a round-trip ticket to Brooklyn, please?
Exactly. Now, what about payment? The driver or ticket machine might ask, cash or card, and you should know how to respond, card please, or I'll pay by cash.
Perfect. And once you're on the bus, you might want to know when to get off. This is super important. You can ask, could you tell me when we reach destination? Or could you let me know when we get to Park Avenue?
That's so useful, Sarah. Drivers are usually really helpful about this. You could also ask, how many stops until Central Station? And they might say something like, 3 more stops, or it's the next one.
And when it's time to get off, you need to press the button or pull the cord, and you might hear an announcement like, next stop, Museum Station, or stopping at City Hall.
Right, And as you're getting off, it's polite to say thank you to the driver. In some places, like where I'm from, people always thank the bus driver. It's just part of the culture.
Okay, now let's move on to train stations. Johnny, train stations can be pretty overwhelming, especially big ones with lots of platforms and destinations. Where should people start?
Good question. First, you need to find the ticket office or ticket machines. You might see signs that say tickets or ticket office. If you're buying from a person, you'd say, I'd like a ticket to Manchester, please, or one adult ticket to Boston, please.
And they'll probably ask you some follow-up questions, like single or return. What time do you want to travel? Or standard or first class?
Exactly. So you need to be ready to answer. You might say, a return ticket, please, or I'd like to travel around 3 p.m., or standard class is fine.
Great. And what about pricing? They might tell you, that'll be £45.50, or your total is $67. And you need to understand numbers clearly. This is really important for money.
Absolutely. If you don't catch the price, don't be afraid to say, sorry, could you repeat that? Or could you say that again, please? It's much better to ask than to give the wrong amount.
So true. Now, once you have your ticket, you need to find your platform. You'll see departure boards. These are the big screens that show all the train times and platform numbers.
Right. The departure board will show information like 10:30 to Edinburgh, platform 5, or delayed 15:42 to Liverpool, platform 9. You need to know words like platform, departure, arrival, delayed, on time, and canceled.
Those are crucial words. Delayed means the train is late. On time means it's arriving as scheduled. And canceled means the train isn't running at all. If your train is canceled, you might hear an announcement like, "We apologize for the inconvenience. The 3:15 service to Brighton has been canceled."
And speaking of announcements, train stations are full of them. You'll hear things like, the next train to arrive at platform 3 is the 11:45 service to York, or please mind the gap between the train and the platform.
Oh, mind the gap is such a famous British phrase. It just means be careful of the space between the train and the platform. In American English, you might hear watch your step instead.
Good point. Now, what if you can't find your platform or you're confused? You can ask a staff member, excuse me, where is platform 7? Or how do I get to platform 12?
And they might say, take the stairs on your left, or go straight ahead and turn right. So you need to know basic direction words: left, right, straight ahead, upstairs, and downstairs.
Exactly. Another important question is this the train to Cardiff? You want to double check before you board. The conductor or other passengers can help you.
Yes, and once you're on the train, you need to find your seat. If you have a reserved seat, your ticket will show the coach number and seat number. You might say to someone, "Excuse me, I think that's my seat," or "Is this seat taken?"
Good phrases. And if you're sitting in an unreserved seat, someone might ask you, is anyone sitting here? And you can reply, no, go ahead. Or, no, it's free.
Now let's talk about subways, or as they're called in Britain, the underground or the tube. Johnny, what's the first thing people need to know about using the subway?
Well, first, you need to know what it's called in different places. In London, it's the Underground or the Tube. In New York, it's the subway. In Paris, it's the metro. But the English vocabulary is mostly the same everywhere.
Right, so when you enter a subway station, you need to buy a ticket or use a travel card. You might see signs that say ticket machines, Metro card, or Oyster card. The Oyster card is what they use in London. It's a reusable card you can top up with money.
Exactly. At the ticket machine, you'd select your destination and the type of ticket. You might need to ask, how much is a ticket to Times Square? Or, can I buy a day pass here?
And the staff at the station can help you. You could say, I'm trying to get to Brooklyn. Which line should I take? Or do I need to change trains?
Change trains is a really important phrase. It means to get off one train and get on another. In American English, we might also say transfer. So you might hear, you need to change at King's Cross, or transfer to the Red Line at downtown.
Perfect. And once you know which line to take, you need to find the right platform. Signs will say things like northbound or southbound, eastbound or westbound. This tells you the direction the train is heading.
Right. So if someone tells you take the northbound train, you need to find the platform for trains going north. And here's a tip. Look at a map. Every subway system has maps that show all the lines and stops.
Maps are essential. You can usually find them near the ticket machines or on the walls, and there are usually maps inside the trains too. Now, when you're waiting on the platform, you'll see signs that tell you how long until the next train. Next train, 2 minutes, or train approaching.
And you need to know the safety announcement. Please stand behind the yellow line, or stand clear of the closing doors. These are important for your safety.
Absolutely. When the train arrives, wait for people to get off before you board. This is proper etiquette everywhere. And once you're on, you might need to ask, does this train stop at Oxford Circus? Or how many stops until Central Park?
And people are usually happy to help. You might hear responses like, yes, it's 3 stops from here, or no, you need the other line. Get off at the next stop and change.
What about when it's time to get off? You'll hear announcements like, next station, Westminster, or now arriving at Grand Central, and you'll see signs inside the train showing the next stop.
Right, and as you exit, you might see signs for way out, which means the exit, or in American English, just exit. You might also see signs for connections or interchange, which means you can change to other lines there.
Okay, Johnny, we've covered the basics, but what happens when things go wrong? Let's talk about problems and how to handle them in English.
Good idea. So first, what if you get lost? The most important phrase is, excuse me, I'm lost. Can you help me? People will usually be very understanding and helpful.
Exactly. You could also say, I'm trying to get to the airport. Can you tell me how? Or, I think I'm on the wrong train. Where does this train go?
And what if you miss your stop? You might need to say, excuse me, I missed my stop. Where can I get off and go back? Or, how do I get back to Green Street from here?
Good one. Another common problem is losing something. You might say, I left my bag on the train, or I think I dropped my wallet. Is there a lost and found?
Lost and found is the American term. In Britain, they say lost property. So you'd ask, where is the lost property office? Or, can I report a lost item?
Great distinction. Now, what about understanding announcements? Sometimes they're hard to hear or understand, especially with background noise. You can ask someone nearby, excuse me, what did that announcement say? Or, did they say the train is delayed?
That's so important, Sarah. Don't be embarrassed to ask. Even native speakers sometimes can't understand announcements. Another useful phrase is, could you speak more slowly, please, if someone is speaking too fast?
Absolutely. Now, let's talk about asking for directions within a station. You might need to ask, where are the restrooms? In British English, that would be, where are the toilets? Or, where's the loo?
Right. You might also need to find the ticket office, the exit, the elevators or lifts in British English, the information desk, or coffee shop.
And if you need accessibility help, you can ask, is there an elevator? British, is there a lift? Or, is this station wheelchair accessible? Or, where is the accessible entrance?
Great point. Now, let's talk about some emergency phrases. If you see something suspicious, you should tell staff, excuse me, I need to report something, or there's an unattended bag on the platform.
Yes, safety first. And if you feel unwell or need help, say, I need help, please. Or, is there a first aid station? Or, can you call for medical assistance? Johnny, let's dive deeper into the topic of tickets and payment. This can be really confusing for learners because every city has a different system.
You're so right, Sarah. So let's cover the general vocabulary that works everywhere. First, we have different types of tickets, single or one-way, return or round trip, day pass, weekly pass, monthly pass, and pay as you go.
Perfect. A day pass gives you unlimited travel for one day. A weekly pass or a monthly pass is great if you're staying longer. And pay as you go means you load money on a card and it deducts the fare each time you travel.
Right. In London, the Oyster card is pay as you go. In New York, the Metro card works similarly. You might hear, you need to top up your card, which means add more money to your card.
Good explanation. Now, when buying a ticket, you might need to specify adult ticket, child ticket, student ticket, or senior ticket, because prices are often different for different ages.
Exactly. And you should carry ID if you're claiming a student or senior discount. The ticket seller might ask, do you have a student ID? Or can I see proof of age?
Now, let's talk about actually paying. At a ticket machine, you'll see options like select destination, choose ticket type, insert cash, insert card, and take your ticket and change.
And the machine might give you instructions like, please insert your card, enter your PIN, remove your card, or transaction declined, please try another card.
Oh, transaction declined is important to know. It means your payment didn't go through. This could be because you don't have enough money, or your card doesn't work internationally, or there's a technical problem.
Good point. So if that happens, try using cash or a different card. And always keep your ticket. You'll usually need to show it when you exit or if an inspector checks tickets on the train.
Yes, ticket inspector, or just inspector, is the person who checks everyone's tickets during the journey. They might say, tickets please, or can I see your tickets? And you just show them your ticket.
And if you don't have a valid ticket, you might get a fine. The inspector might say, this ticket isn't valid, or you'll have to pay a penalty fare. So always make sure you have the right ticket.
Sure. Joni, before we wrap up, let's talk about cultural expectations and etiquette on public transport. This is so important.
Absolutely. First rule, let people get off before you get on. Whether it's a bus, train, or subway, people exiting have priority. This is true everywhere.
Yes, and on escalators, there's usually an unwritten rule: stand on the right, walk on the left. This is especially strict in London. If you stand on the left, people will get annoyed because you're blocking the walking lane.
So true. In some places it's reversed. In Australia, you stand on the left, but in most English-speaking countries, it's stand right, walk left.
Another important one is give up your seat for elderly people, pregnant women, or people with disabilities. You might see priority seating areas marked with signs. If someone needs that seat, you should offer it.
You could say, would you like to sit down? Or please take my seat. It's a polite thing to do, and people really appreciate it.
Definitely. Now, let's talk about noise. In many places, especially on trains and subways, people keep quiet. Don't talk loudly on your phone or play music without headphones. It's considered rude.
Right. If you need to take a phone call, keep your voice down and make it brief. And if you're listening to music, use headphones. Nobody wants to hear your music playlist.
Another tip is be aware of your belongings. Keep your bag close to you and don't take up extra seats with your luggage. If the train is crowded, move your bag to your lap or put it under the seat.
And speaking of crowded trains, during rush hour, expect to stand. Rush hour is usually around 7 to 9 a.m. and 5 to 7 p.m. in most cities. Trains and buses are packed with commuters going and from work.
Yes, if you can avoid traveling during rush hour, do it. But if you must travel, then be prepared for crowds. Move to the middle of the train car, don't block the doors, and be patient.
Great advice. And here's one more. Don't eat strong-smelling food on public transport. A quick snack is usually okay, but a full meal, especially something like fast food, is generally considered inconsiderate.
Wow, Johnny, we've covered so much today, from asking for directions at the bus stop to buying tickets to navigating the subway system. I think our viewers have all the essential English they need for public transport now.
Absolutely, Sarah. The key is just to practice these phrases and not be afraid to ask for help. People understand that using public transport in a foreign language is challenging, and most people are happy to help.
That's so true. And remember,
Everyone makes mistakes. Even native speakers get confused on public transport sometimes. So don't worry about being perfect. Just be polite, use these phrases, and you'll be fine.
Exactly. And viewers, if you want to practice, try using these phrases out loud. Imagine you're at a train station or bus stop and practice asking questions. The more you practice, the more confident you'll feel.
Great tip. And if you're planning to travel to an English-speaking country, do some research on its specific transport system. Look up maps online, watch videos, and familiarize yourself with the layout. Preparation makes everything easier.
Couldn't agree more. Well, everyone, thanks so much for joining us today on Native Speakers Channel. We hope this lesson on public transport English was helpful and practical for you.
Yes, thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this episode, please give us a thumbs up, share it with your friends who are learning English, and subscribe to our channel for more practical English lessons.
And let us know in the comments, what topics should we cover next? What areas of English do you want to learn more about? We love hearing from you.
Absolutely. Until next time, keep practicing, keep learning, and happy travels.
See you in the next episode. Bye, everyone.
Bye.